what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. You are tuned in to Alone Together Pittsburgh. We've been streaming at you live since the day of the shelter in place order coming down in March, which makes this week 30. We are now capping off week 30. 30 weeks. We did not think this would go past 8 weeks at the most, and we are just wrapping up week 30 with no end in sight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bringing us in, welcoming us into your homes or your favorite mobile devices. We're here. We started the show as a way to keep a sense of community going, and it's blossomed into several million other things along the way, and we're learning every day, and we still don't consider ourselves journalists in any stretch of the imagination, and neither should you. But thank you for being with us tonight. We have got a fantastic show for you tonight. André Costello is going to be here. You may remember André. He's been on the show 2 times before, and he also wrote that catchy jingle for Alone Together. So we're excited that he's going to be here. He's going to be premiering a new song. Natalie Bencivenga is going to be here. She's got a great 5 minutes with, and Dave Bracey is going to round things out with local brew talk and anything else that's on everybody's mind. So we thank you for coming in. I do want to just do a little couple pieces of housekeeping here. Tricking below me right now, Tricking, that's the new name apparently, is our Venmo. It's at Together PGH. That is our Venmo. If you want to kick in a couple of bucks, we would greatly appreciate it. All the money that we raise from the Venmo goes directly to the artists involved in the show on any given night. So we appreciate anything. We know there's donor fatigue going on right now, but if you can give to the show, that's fantastic. We also are on PayPal. If you don't have your Venmo set up, you can go to our website, togetherpgh.com, and check that out. That would be wonderful. As far as things go, the COVID numbers of new cases in Allegheny County were 78 today, down from 120 something yesterday. But we are not. So I think we're flattening our curve in a sense that we're rotating around between 80 and 100, but we're not dropping it down. So what we need everyone to do is we're going to try to smash that curve like the Hulkster in a ghetto blaster. But what we need you to do is just remember to keep on wearing your mask if you're going out. Keep trying to social distance. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on right now. The holiday season is going to be approaching pretty soon. So keep your mask on. And remember, look at this dog graphic. It's amazing. That's how you should do it. Make sure your nose is covered, not your eyes. Your mouth and your nose, as long as they're covered, that's the way to wear a mask. If you watch the show in week 17, there was a standing joke about Pete and what he talked about people's noses being out of the thing. We don't have to go there now. We're morphing into a family type show. So that's the deal. Pete, did you want to tell anybody about the nose out thing? And did you want to talk about that?
What's up? What's up?
Those tips are looking golden, my friend.
I mean, I was out in the sun just a couple hours today, and look at those tips.
My gosh, the George Michael. Dave, bring up that picture again. I mean, look at that. It's getting there. We got to get you some aviators, and
I feel like that's not a good representation. That photo. I think I need.
Well, I don't know, Pete. If you look at some of the photos that you post of our guests on the show, it's a very good representation because usually our guests are like. In a freeze frame.
No, normally I try to get good photos of the guests. It's usually your face that's like that.
Well, I'm fine with that. I mean, nobody's watching the show for me.
If people want to find those photos, we're on Instagram at Together PGH. It's the shit show over there, but we're there.
All right. Well, thank you. We got a great show lined up tonight. I'm very excited. Andre's going to be back. So that's good. But before we get to our guests, there's another little piece that we talk about here, housekeeping wise, and that is something we like to call the Engine House 25 Winery Jagoff poll. That's right, eh25.com. Jagoff poll. We are down to the nitty gritty. Everybody's favorites. Anyone that's in the poll now has won 3 different rounds. So it's a big one every night until we reach the finish line, which is coming up very soon. We are broaching on the Elite 8 status here. It was a big one overnight last night. Dave, tell them what it was. Oh, Rick. We miss you, Rick Seaback. We miss you. That was 2 nights ago, and there was a big a slaying of a giant. There was almost a tie. It was Fat Mandy defeated Rick Seaback We'd love for him to come back. I know there's a couple of people that have their redemption cards that they could pull out, but we're not doing that. The resurrection card, whatever. Dave, tell him about last night's card. Tell him about last night.
Last night overnight, TESSAROS Burger versus Silence of the Lambs. You can buy the house right now. We are not affiliated, but if you want to live in the house where you take the lotion and you put it on if you're a good dude, that's what you got to do. You get the lotion or you eat a burger. What did you want? What did you want, Pittsburgh? How do you vote? Let's find out. Here are the final results. The overnight poll. Let's take a look at them. What'd you expect?
Whoa.
TESSAROS Burger every time. Always the local cuisine. Shoo
Wow.
in. Not a chance for Silence of the Lambs. That movie was overrated. I think we all agree that by now.
The only motion picture to sweep the best picture and all actor categories, I think, was The Silence of the Lambs. I could be wrong, but okay. The Silence of the Lambs has fallen. An iconic Pittsburgh, made in Pittsburgh movie. Not as iconic as like Flashdance when Flashdance fell. What's that? Or House Guest for that matter.
It took down House Guest in the last round.
It did. It did. Silence of the Lambs took down House Guest, and now it has fallen to the burger at TESSAROS, which is classic Pittsburgh. And I know there's burger aficionados right now that are hating on the TESSAROS burger.
What?
I think
Who
people
hates on the TESSAROS?
there is a burger club out
Get
there.
out of my city.
I'm
Get
just
out of
saying.
my city.
There are many fine burgers in Pittsburgh. I would say right now that I could tell you 10 burgers that are just amazing gastronomical delights.
We're burger time.
But the TESSARO burger is a classic, man. It's got its own thing, and it was there first.
What
you know
burger
what I mean?
do you get when you go to TESSAROS?
I just get the gourmet burger.
You get the gourmet burger. That's the one with mushrooms?
That's the one with mushrooms. It's the one with
yeah.
everything. They throw the gourmet burger's got everything on it. I get it medium rare to rare, and I get some mayonnaise on the side just in case. You know what I mean? Not that I usually need it, and I get the home fries. What do you do?
Home fries? Oh, yeah. Home fries are good. I mean, I like the potato salad, but it's like a little too much mayonnaise for me.
Yeah, I go with that.
Sometimes I go with the broccoli. The broccoli is like on point. It's choice.
Right. I have done that on occasion. There was occasion. Okay, so here's something else that I started doing at TESSAROS, right? I started getting the steak. Okay. Ooh. And I would say it's a different, it's smoky, you know what I mean? The steak's on the thing. But here's a little pro tip. You can ask them if they've got a bigger cut. And they'll let you know if they've got bigger cuts of meat than the standard 16-ounce steak that they have. Sometimes they'll have like a 24, a 20-ounce. They'll have that, and you pay by, the poundage or whatever, just like you're buying like a lobster or something. But you'll pay a little bit more. But I tell you, it's worth it, man.
How many do you think you could go? How many ounces?
I could easily. I mean, if I was like
60?
Yes, I could do 60 ounces. I could. I have done probably close to 60 ounces before. Not at TESSAROS. I was at a steakhouse in Tampa, Florida, called Burns Steakhouse, and I had, I think I had like a 38-ounce steak of my own, and then everybody else gave me the steak that they couldn't finish, because I don't get steak all the time. I can eat a great deal of it in like one.
When you're in, you're in.
When I'm in, I'm in. I'm all in. I crave the meat sweats.
Burns was also featured in the movie The Great Outdoors.
It wasn't, but that was a 68-ounce steak, and I'm gonna be real. I don't know if I could do it. I think like if I trained a little bit, I think I could do it. I think I could do that, but I could not do the gristle and fat. Now I could, if you give me a 16-ounce steak, I'll eat the fat on it. It's delicious, right? If you do that, but like if you get to that much quantity, that steak. I mean, John Candy. I know it was a movie, but here's to your character, and rest peacefully, sir. But yeah, that's it. That's good. So that's exciting. But before we start talking,
elevating in my ear right now because he doesn't eat meat anymore. So
gosh, that's right. Dave's on the Dave. Are you vegan or just veg?
He says he's not functional right now.
Okay, that's cool. So Dave's working out some stuff. He's taking care of some business, and we're gonna respect that. But I will tell you guys right now, before we have a little thing called the in-show Lil Jagoff poll. Okay, the in-show Little Jagoff poll also brought to you by Engine House 25 Winery.
Are you drinking anything from them
Oh,
tonight?
it's just so funny that you should mention. I happen to be having.
This is
I happen to be having a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc from Engine House 25 Winery. I went on to eh25.com, and you know what I did? I told them at eh25.com that I found out about them from Alone Together Pittsburgh. $5 off per bottle.
They gave you $5 off per bottle, Patrick.
Everybody can do it, my friend. Everybody can do it. Go to eh25.com. Check out the selection of wines they have there. It is some of the best you're going to get anywhere. The grapes are from everywhere from Napa to Chile. They come in refrigerated box truck. They get taken care of, hand-selected, press, crush, everything. EH25 right there in Lawrenceville, where the Strip District meets Lawrenceville, right in Doughboy Square, also housed
I hear
the Clemente
all
Museum.
of those bottles of wine were corked with the same cork that Roberto Clemente used in his bats. Right?
You see, now I'm going to stop you right there because you are messing with something that you can't possibly understand. Okay, Roberto Clemente never corked his bats, folks. Pete's being funny, but
I don't know. I'm just, I thought I read that on the website. I don't
that
know
is not a website. That's not on any website. I guarantee you search for it right now. There's not a cork in Clemente's bat.
Yep, or there wasn't a cork. He's got a bunch of corks, and
there is a picture of Dwayne with corks because those are EH25 corks. So anyway, you get what I'm saying. I don't
understand the corking of the bat. What happens when you cork a bat?
It just gives it a little bit of it pressurizes and the ball can get a little bit more oomph to it.
So you actually put you drill through and put an actual
and then seal it up, cork the bat. That's what they came at after what was that? George Brett was the big incident where they said that he corked his bat. And this was in the 80s, and he rushed out. You can watch the footage from it. I'm sure, Dave's got time on his hands. He can go pull that up. But the veins are coming out of dude's neck. There's a chaw on his cheek, and he's screaming. I just remember watching it when I was a kid. But they said that the bat is corked. It's illegal to do that, to have a corked bat. So I
still don't understand the process. Is it actual cork, or do they put metal or something?
That would be cork.
It is actually cork.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be cork. I am not an expert on the matter. I watched the documentary in probably the early 90s, so I can't really speak to that because that was around the time that I was failing my CPR test with Recessa Annie.
Oh, was that when you were a lifeguard?
I wasn't a lifeguard. Everyone, didn't you have to do that in high school? That you had to do we got a great show lined up. So are we ready for the in-show Lil Jagoff poll? Or should everyone just go to eh25.com, check out the selection of wine, pick out what they want, get their $5 off. They also have free delivery. Here's the in-show Jagoff poll. Dave, tell it to him.
Tonight's in-show Jagoff is presented by Engine House 25. We've got Pittsburgh's greatest sandwich, the Triangle Bar Battleship, versus the
Swissville
uncooked Beto's pizza that's not really pizza, but people think it's pizza.
Okay, we're stopping. Okay, so here's the deal. That wasn't Dave, in case you've been watching the show. Pete was trying desperately. That was a good pickup. Okay, so we've got Beto's Pizza, which you may know. It's right there on the other side of the tunnel. And if you go to Beto's, they do not melt the cheese. They put the cheese on after the pizza's been cooked, okay? So you get the raw cheese. It's a totally different kind of flavor, okay? It's a totally different kind of pizza. It is a specialty thing. Now, the Battleship, okay, in Swissville's own, the Triangle Bar. I frequent this place. I get this place. I go there all the time. You cannot mess with this hoagie. It is a basic, standard, kick-ass hoagie with great ingredients and great bread. You get in there, you call in, you let them know when it's coming. Boom. You come out, it's ready. They've large sizes. I want to show it so we get it all on camera. The Triangle Bar is a classic and an institution. So you got to check that right. I've never heard anyone pronounce it like that. Okay, Danielle, is it Beto's, or is it Marshuda's? Which is it? Am I wrong? How did I pronounce it? Danielle is giving me some garbage because I gave Pete some garbage, and I can't tell if Pete's frozen right now or if he's being very still.
He's frozen.
Dave, there you are.
He's frozen.
Okay.
There's a ghost in the GD machine. The GD's got a ghost. It's Halloween. There's a GD ghost in the GD machine. So expect things to be choppy tonight, just letting you know.
Okay, well, hey, that's good to know. Engine House 25 might actually have a ghost as well. And that is something we can talk about on another episode as we get later into October, because we're going to have some serious October surprises for you here at Alone Together Pittsburgh. But I'm wondering if now would be a great time to bring out our first guest. He was one of our early guests on the show. Oh yeah, you guys can get voting on the Beddoes and Battleship thing going on right now. But we've got André Costello here from André Costello and the Cool Mirrors. And he's got a new song coming out, a new video coming out. He's going to tell us about it, and he's going to catch us up on what he's been up to since we saw him last. Because now Andre is in the elite Three Timers Club here on Alone Together Pittsburgh.
Oh, hey, what's going on? Hey,
Well,
what's your swearing policy in here?
You can do whatever you want, man. You can say
what the fuck do you call my band again? Mirrors?
Mers.
Minors. It's the minors.
I said that the Cool Miners.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Cool Miners. I'm going off of what they texted me. I should have gone off the video.
It's autocorrect. That's fine.
It's autocorrect. It happens. So tell me about it. What have you been up to? What's going on? How are you?
Oh, I've been okay. Yeah, just doing the regular thing, you know. It's concrete work. I'm Italian, so it's the thing we do. Also, this is the thing I've learned over the last 300 odd days indoors. My friend Nate Campese taught me this. Watch.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
right. You get a little thing you do to pass the time.
Yeah. Danielle, you might be right. I'm trying to keep it moving here, but I apologize for the for
talking
that.
about pizza and burgers.
So we talked some music last time. I mean, how have things been going? I mean, obviously you're probably you're not playing live.
Yeah,
anyway.
no. The thing is, you can't really play live very much without being considered a super spreader.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying the best to keep that in mind and play it as safe as reasonably possible. Although some places are being extremely creative, like you've got Mr. Small's theater. They're doing the middle of the road sort of thing. They have that ability because they have that road, that really, really steep road where part of it isn't extremely steep. It's pretty steep, but they put a bunch of tables there and set up a bunch of bands and have them cycling throughout the weekend, which is pretty awesome. I did that a couple weekends ago. Thunderbird Cafe is doing the same thing. I'm going to be there not tomorrow, but next Saturday. And then another thing that we're doing to keep things interesting is to be able to, because those events are cool for people that are willing to brave it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are in a position where they can't really do that. I had a number of friends message me and ask me if it was going to be live streamed because they're missing out on live music. And actually, some of the people that I know that are the most prolific live music fans are those that cannot really risk it because of health issues. And so we decided that we needed to have a reason to get together as a band, for one, but then also a way to bring the live music experience to the listeners is to kind of just do what we normally do, however we can do it. So we decided to do a live show as we would if everything wasn't shut down.
Okay.
So we did a short set and put a couple new songs in there. We always try to put in some new songs to try them out live to see how they go. So we did that. We set up a studio at Mr. Small's recording studio on the north side and bought a backdrop from a lady in Weirton, West Virginia. Got Weirton.
All right.
And we set it up and we got a film crew together with Chris Uren, Forrest Salamita, got our buddy Ben and Nate over at Smalls, and we put together a team. We got the whole band together.
That's awesome. I think we might have a little taste from it. To give it a little taste. Dave, are we ready to show a little taste of this video that we're talking about here? When we're ready, we'll roll to it. But in the meantime, you got everybody together to put this on. So had you got? Oh, never mind. We're gonna play this bad boy here.
All right. This is a new song. It's called Are We Ready? And it's going to be on the next album that comes out.
Okay, so while we're waiting, while we're trying to get ready for this, what was it like getting the band? Oh, never mind. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
Can I get to your heart? Can I make your heartbeat start and hope you're ready? If I speak to your worry, how do I feel? Like a speeding bullet train, send a message to the brain and hope you find. It's not a hard decision, but it's driving me away. Tell me already. I know that it's a lie. Are we steady? Can I get it to the door? Should we hide it in the dark and hope you find? Can we even wash it out, or is it just a stain? Can we get to the source? Should we let it run its course? Make a small incision, relieving your pain. Tell me, are we ready? Are we going steady? Can I reach into your heart and pull out stars? Tell me, are we ready? Are we going steady? Can I reach into your heart and pull out stars? Tell me, are we ready? I know that it's a lie. Now we're going steady. Knife through the heart.
Awesome.
On here, what?
Hey, all right.
Hey, we got Rich here now. There's Sean way back there in the background. He was on the drums.
All right.
Rich here did the dueling guitar solo with me.
Awesome.
And this, Gretchen was in the background in the jungle there.
Hey, Gretchen. Hey, everybody. That was fantastic. So,
Cool,
I mean,
man.
what was it like getting back together? I know the whole video is like 25 minutes long. If you catch it all together, it's almost like
Yeah.
seeing you guys play a set. We just saw a taste of it, but what was it like getting back together and playing together again?
Well, if you thought that was bad, you should have saw us when we first rehearsed it. When we set up.
I didn't think it was bad, man. I thought it was great.
You're sweet. You're sweet. I think very differently What was going on, I was just yelling at the other guys here about how they're poor performing.
But you know, it's very, very timely though. I see people. You guys are masked up now. I like that. But like
I don't wear masks.
masks in the video. I saw your mask earlier. You can't fool me. But yeah. So I mean, how are you guys feeling getting back together? Was it just straight electric, or were you guys like hesitant to be around each other?
Oh, it was great because the three on those 5 songs, the 3 that we did that were not new, we knew pretty well, and so we picked them up and warmed up playing those, and settled in pretty good. And we have like a pretty good number of songs that are on their way to the next album, and so a lot of those they were post-COVID that we actually really started rolling with them. So we've been working on them, piecemeal.
Right.
So those 2 songs are 2 songs that we'd never played together. And so it was fun. So we had that sort of excitement of picking up new songs that kind of just elevated our experience, and I think elevated the songs.
I love that you guys did this, and I love seeing what people are doing right now to like kind of pick up the pieces and try to move on with this, because people are willing to forgive just about anything to see some cool shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At this point right now, so it's just like, so what? I mean, it's your first time, just like the electricity kind of was coming across. So that's great. But I heard you actually have a kind of a remix, so to speak, of a song that we listen to twice a night, every night.
yeah, you've got a better version coming to that one. That's my that song ended up on my my COVID lockdown album called the Tomorrow Club, which is the club that consists of me.
Nice. It's just tomorrow. It's just you, Andre.
Me tomorrow.
It's just me tomorrow. That's what it is. And maybe you should think about you should think about changing the name of the band to the Cool Morrows.
The Cool Morrows. I had a priest in my hometown named Father Morrow. He was beloved.
Okay.
Until some very awful things transpired.
Well, all right.
Untimely.
Well, we're gonna have to have you on another time. We're gonna dig into that deeper on once we break our 100th show next week. We'll have you back. But we've actually played your song now close to 200 times.
Oh my god! You should.
Dave's the best in the business. I'm sorry.
When did you record that live record or that live video?
2-3 weeks ago.
I was gonna say Sean's looking a little scruffier than he was in that video.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit longer than 2 weeks.
It's like in August.
Unless Sean just like blew out his hair and beard overnight.
We've all aged. Like
Yeah.
you'll. It's been a couple. It's been a while.
I got some extensions in my hair.
Yeah, we've had many life changes since that came out.
So the video in its entirety, the best place to get that is on your website. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can access if you go to Costello and the coolminers.com. Cool as in like the fawns, and miners as in young people.
Not like a digging coal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Gotcha. Gotcha. Speaking of the fawns and cool, who's this four-legged creature behind you here?
Whoa! Ah! I don't know. This is Mochi. This is a Mochi girl. Oh, she got treats. You want treat, Mochi? Oh, wait. Hey, can we do a little Mochi? Hey, Mochi, a treat. Here, Mochi. Mochi, sit. Oh, shake. Shake,
That's right.
Mochi. Oh, that's a Mochi. It's a good Mochi. Hi. Okay,
There's
now, lie down. Okay, now roll over. No, that's dangerous.
table.
That's
Yeah.
dangerous. Okay.
All right. Hey, for our loyal viewing audience, there's our animal break. We didn't get one at the beginning tonight, but you did. But you got a little mochi break.
Yeah.
Pete, what do you got there, Pete?
I was just listening to this.
Hey.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Got it right here next to me. I was listening to this afternoon when I was working on the show stuff, like
Oh,
getting
that's
the
great,
website
Pete.
stuff uploaded. Yeah. Also, I have to ask one last question before we get to Natalie. But where do you stand on Beto's Pizza?
Oh, well, funny you should ask. Gretchen, go get that frying pan. You know where it is.
Yeah, I do.
So before Beto's was the Carlos, and they were on 51. They still are the most popular pizza place in Steubenville.
Oh, so there was a chain. There was more than one.
Yeah, there are many.
Steubenville, home of Dean Martin.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of Dean Martin with the guy from DeCarlos. I was friends with, I still am with David and Lee Roth. No, David
Lee Roth. Well, that's timely because he's probably bumming right now.
God. Yeah. God. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen.
That's right. Let's ready. Please, Eddie Van Halen. We didn't get into a tribute because we can't play any of his music because they'll shut us down.
Dean Martin too, right?
What's that?
No, Dean Martin.
No, Dean Martin's he's been gone for a while.
What?
No, I mean we can't play him on the show.
Oh yeah, like Dean Martin's not with us anymore.
We can't play anything that's copyrighted on the show, or Facebook shuts the shit down. So yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you. So anyway,
they were around before Beto's, and theirs is much more tasteful. They crisp up the bottom of the pan and they throw it on top like a nice normal amount of toppings that cools off the piping hot pizza, and it's a really great sensation and not so much of a gimmick.
Okay. Oh,
right.
he threw some shade there.
All right.
So I guess in this poll, are you taking the Battleship or are you taking?
No, I love it. There's
So
still
Triangle Battleship, the Triangle Battleship, which is the submarine, or
Hoagie.
Beto's Pizza. Which one do you choose?
Is that you?
It is a 50-50 tie right now, and this is how we're gonna have to leave you, Andre. So make sure when you vote, make sure it counts because you're breaking a tie currently.
What the hell is Triangle Bar Battleship?
You never had that?
You never had that in Swissville?
Oh, Swissville. I live in Brookline. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I thought you had a vehicle, a car that could drive you places. I'm sorry. Do you have a Pat bus? Do you have a Pat bus pass? You get on a bus, you can get over there.
Pat bus.
Wait, you've never had triangle?
No, we've never.
You guys should talk
John, where
about
do you
this.
stand on it?
Yeah,
Would you
John.
choose the battle? Clearly, Andre doesn't know what he's talking about. What do you choose?
Who's involved with
It's either the battleship sub, the Triangle Battleship versus Beto's Pizza.
Three.
I thought it was a triangle shaped slice
I'm gonna
of
have to
pizza
say
with
triangle
sub.
because I don't think I've ever had Beto's.
Okay.
That's like the cool cheese on, right?
Kelsey goes with triangle all the way at home. We've got 2 triangle votes in an instant.
It's
Guys.
because the bar is triangle shaped.
The
I'm
bars.
not-
It's,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome to the 3-Timers Club, Andre. You get absolutely nothing for being on our show 3 times. But you're an elite group. I think you can count on one hand how many people have been on the show 3 times. So thank you for our theme music, and we look forward to hearing the remix.
The remix, the fully fleshed out. It's not really a remix. It's a fully fleshed out track.
We're gonna play it next week. Next week, I'm adding it to the credits.
Next week,
but you told me to wait, so
well, guys, thank you so much.
Cheers, guys.
Go to Costello and the coolminers.com.
Yeah, that Mindhunter episode was the bomb, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I watched
Thank
it multiple times. It was long too.
Yeah, it was something. All right, well, I thank you all very much, and we got to roll on. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Keep wearing those masks. And the video sounds amazing. By the way, you guys sound great. So keep it up.
Watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I will. Can't wait to see you guys in live settings again soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. All right, so that was it. So check out Costello and the coolminers.com. Check that out. Before we bring out our next guest, I'm very excited. I want to tell you a little bit about another one of our sponsors. It's Farm to Table, okay? So if you go to farmtotablepa.com, you can find out a lot of magical things. Everything from where different CSAs you can get, where the farms are, where to buy fresh and buy local. It is a all-inclusive website. You can find anything you need. The holidays are coming up, Halloween, Thanksgiving. You want to know where to get your decorations. You want to get your pumpkins, your apple cider, all that stuff, this is the place to go. Go there right now. It's also mushroom season, so you could find out some magical ways to grow your own mushrooms and or where to get them from the best, because Pennsylvania is the mushroom capital of the country. So, without further ado, we've been waiting here patiently. Every Friday night, you can set your clock to a couple of things. Someone saying TGIF and 5 minutes with Natalie Bencivenga. So let's see who she's got this week. Dave, roll it.
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie Bencivenga, host of 5 Minutes With. And this week I am thrilled to have Jerry Dickinson. He is a law professor at the University of Pittsburgh, and he recently ran for Congress too, which is just really thrilling. So it's so nice to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
So you have to tell me a little bit about your experience in running and how sort of your identity has played into that.
Sure. Yeah. I did not. I didn't have a long-standing kind of plan to run for elected office. I've always been an advocate, an activist, and kind of a lawyer in that kind of social justice realm. And so I've done most of my advocacy in those domains as a lawyer advocating on behalf of the marginalized or whatever it may be, and now as an academic. So that's not the traditional trajectory into politics, but I think what largely led me to jump into running for Congress was my personal background, coming out of the foster care system here in Allegheny County, and those experiences. And then also just being a father of 2 daughters and knowing that I want that this part of the country, southwestern Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh area, I want it to be a livable place for my daughters who are growing up as Black girls in Pittsburgh. And I thought, well, what better way to do it than to take my skill set as a law professor, an activist, and go into electoral politics. So
Yeah, no big deal.
not a big deal, I know. Yeah, I just woke up one day and I was like, well, let's just do this. And my wife looked at me and was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. What are you talking about? I said, no, I'm not crazy. Let's do this. It's fun. But I think, I announced in April of 2019, which is really early, almost a year in advance of the actual election. And, a lot of people didn't know who I was. They knew I was a law professor, advocate, but had no idea that I was going to run for office. But I think what captures a lot of the essence of the campaign is in November of 2019, on back-to-back days in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, I was on the front page on November 18th as a congressional candidate. The author had wrote this article, like Jerry Dickinson's running for office as a progressive candidate. And it talked about how I grew up in the foster care system, which was really neat and fun. What people didn't realize is that the next day, November 19th, in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, was another front page article. It was about another person with the last name Dickinson. But that article was very different. It was about a foster brother of mine who was being sentenced to life in prison.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people didn't connect the two at all. Why? Because my foster brother, he's white. He's been incarcerated for years on end, struggling with addiction, struggling with other problems and issues that led him to engage in a crime that led to him being sentenced to life in prison. And I think it was that dynamic, I think, in many ways epitomizes much of the campaign. That is, I'm coming from a background where intimately associated with, in my entire life, white siblings and Black siblings who have who struggled their entire life with poverty, addiction, incarceration, homelessness, joblessness, whatever it may be. And I'm so intimately tied to those worlds, while at the same time, I am here as a lawyer, as a law professor, running a campaign on social justice, running a campaign on criminal justice reform, running a campaign on housing, running a campaign on doing away with poverty. And so, this is intimate connection between your own life experiences, where you come from, and then taking those life experiences and attempting to make the Pittsburgh region a better place. So.
No, and that makes total sense, because I think it's that richness of personal experience and having it seen through your lens is really allowing you to see the struggles of others, because you've experienced those things in your own way. And so it creates more empathy. So when I think about this, and I think about you running for Congress, which was super exciting when I had seen that you had done that, it really, for me, it also highlighted a lot of what's going on in our country in terms of politics, where you have a lot of older white men making decisions for a very diverse culturally and ethnically and racially country. And so can you speak to that tension that's existing right now when it comes to racism as it pertains to politics?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're right now in the midst of one of, which is a historic civil rights movement in light of George Floyd's murder. And I think, what we're seeing now is a moment where, a moment of reconciliation, right? And a moment where we really do have to take a step back and understand the institutionalized racism that permeates American society. And the George Floyd murder shows that in the context of policing, right, and law enforcement in the United States. And I'll use this as an example. When that happened with the George Floyd murder, I recall speaking with my father, my adopted father, who's a 79-year-old white man. He grew up in McKeesport, right? We have a very close relationship. He's my best friend. But as a result of that relationship, he and I, over the years, have had to have very difficult conversations about race, about internalized subconscious racism, and my experiences as a Black man and his experiences as an older white man, and the privileges that he enjoys in life and the privileges I do not enjoy. And I remember having that conversation about George Floyd and telling my dad that, look, I've been there before. He knows I've been there before, thrown to the ground by a police officer, knee on my back, for doing absolutely nothing wrong, right? And I could have lost my life. And this difficult conversation that you have with my father, who's an older white man, but it was a moment of reconciliation. It was a moment where he, in many ways, was forced to understand, oh, this stuff is happening, and it's institutionalized, and it's affecting Black and brown communities all across the United States. And I, as an older white man, right, my father, may be contributing to this problem, and I need to take and play a role in helping to untangle and unravel some of these injustices as well. It's a deep moment. It's a moment of just, wow, reconciliation of like, he's understanding where I'm coming from, and in many ways, I'm understanding where he's coming from as well. So.
No, and I think that's such a way of looking at the whole world right now, just through those intimate relationships, because at the end of the day, everything always does come down to our relationships with one another and how we relate to each other. And so for my final question, when we're thinking of all of these issues that are interwoven, that are impacting people, when we think of what's going on with COVID, ignoring sort of the circus of politics happening at the White House right now, when we're talking about the issues, you have ran on a lot of progressive stances. How do you actually see those issues interweaving as it pertains to housing security, food security, the interwovenness of racism, and then throwing a pandemic on top of that? How does that actually impact real people that you interact with on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning, I have a long history of being an advocate, a lawyer for the last decade or so. Many instances representing tenants and squatters in South Africa in eviction proceedings, in New York City and Harlem, mostly Latino and African American women in eviction proceedings, and then here in Pittsburgh as well. And so, during the congressional race and when the pandemic hit, I was representing a poor African American woman, elderly woman with disabilities, who was being evicted from her home. And, the material hardship that tenants have to deal with, right? If they don't have a job, if they don't have access to a roof over their head, if they're subject to eviction, it causes a lot of turmoil in their lives. And for this particular client, it did, right? The idea of being thrown out onto the street in the middle of a pandemic is scary, right? Where are you going to go? Are you going to have a roof over your head? And then the other question becomes, it's also a health and safety hazard, right? If you don't have a roof over your head and you're subject to, say, violence on the street, or you're subject to just health-related issues, do you have the kind of access to healthcare that you have a right to have, right, when that's all happening? And with this particular client, that is exactly the problem that we dealt with. One, lack of access to healthcare as a result of being evicted from her home, lack of access to funds to keep her afloat for just basic needs, food, right, water, clothing. All these things play a role into that. And I think the pandemic has brought, as you just said, all these different elements to on race and socioeconomic problems to a bear. And we're faced now with what is an extraordinary, unprecedented moment where millions of Americans, like the woman who I was representing in an eviction proceeding, are in desperation.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways, this moment of this extraordinary moment of the pandemic does call for extraordinary empathy. Extraordinary empathy on the part of our elected officials, extraordinary empathy on the part of judges who are going to be hearing cases where tenants are pleading to allow me to stay in my home. And that's the new world that we live in. Extraordinary empathy, and in many ways, if there's any good that comes out of this pandemic, it is that it's forced us to reconcile with that idea of extraordinary empathy.
Thank you so much, Jerry. I could listen to you talk all day. I hope you can come on again and chat with me and give me an update maybe after the election.
Yes, after the election, yes. Happy to do it. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for spending just a little bit more than 5 minutes with me. Bye.
Of course, thanks. Bye.
Hey. All right. How's it going?
It's been wild, and I've been wanting to have him on for a while, and I just think he's so brilliant and has such an intimate knowledge of all of these things. And someone had recently emailed me. I've been getting people emailing me requests for topics for 5 Minutes With, which I thought was pretty cool. And somebody said, you should really do something on the eviction crisis that's going to happen because of COVID. And since there's been that extension, my plan was to have Jerry talk about that exclusively because he's worked literally with people and trying to help them not get evicted during this terrible time. But I decided to take a little more of a broader view since that issue isn't on fire in Pittsburgh or in Pennsylvania at this moment. But that doesn't mean that couldn't change in a week.
Yet, I mean, hopefully it's not. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting too, his story and his background. And I didn't know that he had grown up in the foster system. I didn't know much about his story at all. And I thought, wow, I think, a lot of times we have such assumptions about people based on like their job or how they dress. And I think sometimes we, put people in little boxes. And he told me a story that we didn't film about he had an experience very similar to what happened to George Floyd, and a police officer, basically assaulting him in the street and doing a very similar thing to him for absolutely no reason. And it just really hit home for me how this issue isn't going away, and it's been here for such a long time. And, I worry that people are sort of fatigued talking about racial justice because they spent their summer doing that. I'm speaking to white people right now, and I just feel like we need to stay in the game and recognize that this is the long game and that we have to dismantle this system so that, our brothers and sisters don't ever have to experience anything like what Jerry and so many countless other people have had to deal with at the hands of the police. So I was really honored to have him sit down and talk to me via Zoom.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, we kind of broached that topic last night a good bit. from different angles. So yeah, that was great. Well, thank you so much. I mean, you keep coming up with great people, man. You just keep finding them. What number? What number is this for you, Natalie? I mean, this is.
I think I'm in. How many shows
you're
have
in
you
the
done?
20s. We've done.
Yeah, I might be closer to.
We're in week 30
Okay,
right now.
so
We're
then,
capping week 30. So you're over 25, right?
Oh yeah, I'm actually probably closer to 30 at this point because I think I joined you in the second or third week you started.
Yes, I think you were the third week on it.
Yeah, which is crazy. And the next week I'm planning on interviewing a Benedictine sister to talk about what's going on with Catholicism in the Supreme Court, and I thought that would be kind of an odd.
It'll be timely. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. All right, so
you don't often hear that perspective.
No,
from
I don't.
nuns.
But this is what we want. This is what we need on this show. This will send us off. That'll be episode 101 of Alone Together Pittsburgh, and it'll start us off on a new century. Well, Natalie, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing next week, especially right now. You dangled that carrot.
I try.
You set the cheese. It's in the trap. I'll be here. Well, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Natalie.
guys.
We'll
Always
see
so
you
much
next
fun
week.
being with you.
Thank you. All right, that was it. Another great 5 minutes with Natalie Bencivenga, and she's going to be back next week, and you don't want to miss it. Obviously, I'm looking forward to it myself. Before we bring out our last guest, who you know is coming, I want to tell you a little bit about another sponsor of ours, Red Start Roasters. If you go to redstartroasters.com and use the coupon code TOGETHERPGH, you'll receive 5% off of your order. And they also are doing free shipping in the 412 area code. That's right. And they also have a brick and mortar place in the East End. Check them out. Go to redstartroasters.com. You will not be sorry you did. Check them out and use the code TOGETHERPGH, and they will take care of you. Some of the best coffee you're going to find anywhere, and the birds will thank you. They'll be chirping and frolicking in the trees. So moving things along here, it wouldn't be a Friday without some local brew talk with the one and only Fresh Fest Digifest man himself, Dave Bracey.
What's good, y'all? Man?
Day, how are you, man?
I'm good. It's a good Friday night. It's weird looking you in the face after all that barebacking yesterday.
That was a whole thing. We talked about it yesterday on the show. If you just tuned in, we actually got we did a photo shoot. Alone Together Pittsburgh did a photo shoot for Table Magazine, which is going to be coming out in their holiday issue. And Natalie was there, Day was there, Pete, Dave, and I were there. And it was the first time we were all in the same physical location, even though we've been talking nonstop for about, 30 weeks.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It was an honor to be out there. And yeah, it was a horse. I haven't seen a horse in, I don't even know, ever. I don't know. So that was dope. Nobody's fingers got chewed off or anything like that, you know? I mean,
so I was kind of like, wow, like this is something different, because I haven't been around this many people I knew since this pandemic really started. You know what I mean? Yeah. So everybody was all around, and like I was talking about and kind of like gushing about my feelings. Dave was like, yeah, it was cool, but it's just, I feel like I see you guys all the time. And Pete was like, Dave's taller than I thought. Like that's what he took from it. I was having like this emotional like connection and all this stuff. Dave Bracey is taller than I thought. Who knew? So that was the thing. So
yeah, no, I drink tall cans, so it makes me look short. You see what I'm saying?
Tall. You're a tall man.
Kate Romaine was there too, folks. Kate Romaine was there too, and she prepped the food because it wouldn't be Table Magazine without food. So again, thanks to Keith and Justin for setting us up there. And
I mostly just ate the whole time. It was great.
Oh, and Snacks was there too. Snacks the dog. So it was the whole Alone Together team.
Snacks the mule. That was a very large animal. That was
Snacks is bigger than he's bigger than I remembered him. I haven't seen him since the pandemic. So Snacks put on about 30-40 pounds.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he put on like 30 or 40 other dogs. Like that motherfucker is huge in the shoulders, man. I mean, it looks like he's got I feel like he got COVID shoulders where you're out there just walking him crazy because you know how everybody's just walking so much now and getting to know their neighborhood, and that's the effect, man. Like I know our dog is a bit more healthy and or arthritis as a result of all the extra walking we're doing. So yeah, no, it was a good experience. So shout out to Table Mag, shout out to Irene for making everything look all like prim and proper. I mean, I felt mad styled and it was coordinated. It felt much fancier than I should have been excited to. I was like,
it felt a lot fancier than what we're like. I mean, we're sitting here with like laptops and maybe cell phones in the corners of our houses for about 6 months, and then all of a sudden it was like the rolling fields and foliage. Anyway, check that. You guys are going to love this issue of the holiday issue of Table Magazine. So be sure to check that bad boy out.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of fancy things, I felt like I would get fancy tonight after all that, the rolling hills and the horse-sized animals and the horses that are
I love a segue.
So I got this Kinsey. It's a local whiskey. It's aged in Zinfandel casks.
Oh.
So, it has a nice, kind of like Kentucky build to it with a kind of grapey finish. If you're into the whiskeys, again, I've been really, after the beer festival, I got to change up on the palate, and whiskey is my go-to. It's one of my faves, and this is a good one. It's local. I got this down at PA Libations.
I'd like to try this.
It's a limited release. Yeah, it's down there in Strip District. Shout out to the folks down there. Shout out to Tom Poet, who actually introduced me to that. He reps PA Libations pretty hard.
I can see you didn't care for it at all.
What was that?
I can see you didn't like it very much.
Oh.
I picked this up this morning. It's just like an empty a handle of bourbon. But go on.
Yeah, we've been sipping on this bottle for a little bit, and
that's cool.
It's nice. You could take a little color in there. So shout out to them. They still got a couple of bottles down there. It's a limited release. So
does it have that bite to it, or does the Zin barrel kind of smooth it out?
So it's how many years is this? I mean, it's at least 2 years. Typically, these limited releases are at least 2 years. You could tell it's at least 2 to 3. It doesn't have that crazy like young whiskey bite to it. I don't know how. If you don't really drink whiskey, then you're not gonna. If you're used to drinking softer, rums or like cocktails or whatever, depending on how you drink it. If you're drinking it straight up, it's gonna have a little bit of a whiskey bite. But it has, like I said, with that, it has a bit of, like I said, that great finish to it. It like around it, you know what I mean? And it like that cask comes in, that finishes on there, and it's like, ooh, it's a little tangy, and it blends nice with the oak. So, excited for that. And then I stopped down today, down at Apis, and I picked up. So Apis is a meadery. If the folks don't know, it's a honey wine, and this is their 6th year. I got their 6-year anniversary dorsata. So the dorsata is the traditional mead. It's just straight honey wine. So Dave does a great job of putting a lot of different flavors on top of it. Cherries and berries and coffee and all types of things, because honey is easy to put things on. It's like the chicken of the booze. So he aged this in port and bourbon barrel aged port and bourbon barrels. So it has like a wine flavor to it, as well as like a wood flavor, a smoky kind of bourbon flavor to it. And it finishes, it has a bit of sweetness in it, and then it finishes dry. So it's a very complex. It's the best liquid that I've had all year. I can say that publicly. It just is absolutely phenomenal. I've never had anything quite like it. Dave doesn't make anything like you could find in the country. But this is a very limited release. It's year 6. You're not gonna, once it's gone, it's gone. And I had it a few weeks ago, and I've just been thinking about it ever since. Like, it's one of those types of drinks where I'm just like, wow. So, you know, and this is 17%. So it's enough.
Where did you get this again?
What was this?
Where'd you pick that up again?
This is Apis Meadery down in Carnegie.
Gotcha.
So, you know, you know, again, when it's gone, it's gone. But, you know, it's a bottle. It's enough for about 4 people, you know, to have, or 2 people for a night, to have a good evening and get a good taste. The bottle doesn't seem that big, but that 17% goes a long way.
Can you get it anywhere else other than from them directly? Like, do they sell it?
You can get Apis in a lot of places. They just pulled out of Giant Eagle. But they're you know, if you go online on the Facebook, you can find where they're at. They're distributed pretty heavily, and they're also in a lot of the breweries. You can find them on tap and a few of their bottles. But I'm not sure you can get these anywhere else. Like I said, it's a very limited release. So, you know, like I said, I highly suggest if you want to experience this, to get down there soon. And the second bottle that I got there is this collaboration between them and New Image Brewing. And it's a plum wine. It's a plum wine that they cut with dorsata, which is the traditional mead, and Pinot Grigio. So it has, again, it has the honey, it has the fruitiness of the plum, and it has the I haven't had it yet, so I'm excited. I had the Pinot Noir version of it, and it was delicious. You got a lot of that like dark, dry, you know, finish to it with a lot of the sweet and the plum. So I'm interested to see what this Pinot Grigio tastes like. I'm not a big wine drinker, so I don't even know what to expect with the flavor profile of Pinot Grigio in this mix. But I've had the base one, and there's 3 of them. There's one that's aged in port barrels, one that's in Pinot Grigio barrels, and one that's in Pinot Noir barrels. And then there's a base version of just the plum wine. So, you know, of those 4 versions, I've had 2 of them. I'm interested to get in this one. And again, it's a 1-in-1 release, or 1-in-4 release. So once it's gone, it's gone. And it's some of the best stuff blowing.
So would you say it's like super sweet? Is it like, I would think like a plum wine would be kind of sweeter.
Yeah, it's not very, so this does a really good job of like, it has a little bit, it has the characteristics of the plum. It's a little sweet, you know what I mean? Like, but it never gets like, you know, it finishes very dry. So it'll give you that flavor. It'll give you a little bit of a moment of sweetness, but then it goes into this, it finishes very dry, and it makes you want more. I don't really drink a lot of like cocktails and sweeter beverages. You know what I mean? The Hangover and all that. But Dave's alcohol it's balanced very nicely. And like, you know, I've honestly, I wake up and I don't have hangovers. You know, I typically have hangovers when I drink wine. There's a lot, I don't know what it is, but I get these wine headaches.
It's the sulfites, bro. It's the sulfites. Okay. So this is something else that are good. The preservatives that they put into it that they have to do. That's right. Pepper knows. She knows it's about the sulfites. So the sulfites. So she's like right on
No
cue.
sulfites, Dad.
She's like, no sulfites, Dad. Do not know sulfites. So anyway, but yeah, so sulfites. So I actually took some crash courses and helped making wine down at Engine House 25. And before they got the license to sell, when it was just kind of like they were making it themselves, they weren't using sulfites at all. And it was like, that means no hangovers, right? Was the kind of thing. So right now they have the very minimum amount of sulfites in the wine. So the wine that you have down there, you should drink it. You shouldn't like, you know, keep it on the shelf for 10 years or something like that. You should like that. The wine's made to be drank faster. So you're not going to get the hangovers that you would get off a normal wine if a wine is super low in sulfites. But the trade-off is you don't want like a 15-year-old bottle of wine with no sulfites in it, because it's just going to be kind of faster way to make.
I got you. So you don't want to age these, I guess, because you know, I mean, like I said, I get no hangovers, and again, it's not too dry. You know, though I do like a really dry, like a Merlot or the darker wines that just leave you like
Oh yeah.
Like SpongeBob dry, like, I mean, when he was
Okay,
in the,
I'm gonna take you down to Engine House 25 when things are a little bit less COVID.
yeah.
Or like when they're crushing, they have like, they open up the garage doors and everything when they do their crushes and everything. So maybe we can mask up, go there and stay in the alley and just basically get wine brought to you.
Yeah,
To take you on a crash course.
yeah, for sure. Shout out to Apis. They are open, I believe, Thursday through Saturday, and they have a nice outside patio. It's pretty large. So we were able to sit out there a couple of weeks ago with a lot of distance. So and they don't really they don't do a lot of advertising because they want to keep it low key.
Right.
Dave has been successful enough in distributing that he doesn't a lot of folks to actually be sitting there. He really doesn't want to invite a lot of folks. I mean, his place is usually packed to the gills, any night that wasn't COVID related, So
Right.
nowadays, they just kind of playing it low key, and it's like one of those if you know, you know. So I don't even know
that also keeps the quality. You know what I mean? That's got a way of keeping that quality at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't like to go to even for I don't like to go to a lot of packed places. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's outdoors or whatever. So it was nice to be there, and maybe 3 or 4 tables out of many kind of occupied outside space pretty nicely. So and actually picking up that up tonight, it's the same situation. So if you know, and if you're watching this, keep it on the low. You know what I mean? Like, just,
All right, well, cool. Well, all right. So
we're here to promote them, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah, we're here to tell you what they're doing, but don't just keep it low.
All right. Between me, you, and the listeners out there, you know what I mean? Just keep it low, and for the most part, just follow a bottle. You know what I mean? Take that shit home. You gotta sit.
So one last thing before we wrap up, or 2 last things. Okay, one of them. Where do you fall in Beto's Pizza versus Battleship? It's our in-show poll.
So when you say betas, you talking about down there on Banksville?
51. Yeah.
Man, that's man, come on, man. That's I mean, Battleship. I'm because Woody Howe credit, man. Like the triangle is that home. It's hard. Like I gotta. It's because it's one of the. It's the for me. It's top 5 pizza spots in the city for me. You see what I'm saying? Like that sauce is phenomenal. The crust is phenomenal, and then they just throw that. It's a nice, the ingredients are high quality. They're fresh, and it's a nice texture.
Are you calling this?
And the hot. I mean, it's one of those things that people come into town. Fuck the Probandies. They see Beta in the gang. You know what I mean? See what they doing over there. You know what I'm saying? So they have a place in my heart. But I'm a hometown dude, man. I stay loyal. So Triangle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You gotta go
All right.
battle.
All right. I'm with that.
I just can't get my head around Beto's. I've never liked it. I've never had a good experience there. Tried it a couple times.
You've never had a good experience. Were they mean to you? Did they spit on your raw cheese pizza?
I don't know.
Like, I've never had a good experience when I went to that
like
establishment. I'm sorry. It was just like they looked at me out of the side of their eye. It was like,
It makes me have to poop.
Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to Dave. All right. So maybe you stick around when we do our overnight poll. We got the big Jagoff poll coming up now. But Dave, should we call it? What is the overall vote? The Triangle has run away with it. Okay. The Triangle Bar has run away with it, but they did just get a ringing endorsement from Dave Bracey. So and not so much for Pete, but I think
I'll try it again. I'm up for trying things, but I did not like it.
I'll and protect you. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Day will go with you and let them know that you're coming in. So they'll be extra nice. There's some sensitive feelings.
My thing is, I just want to know what to get. Like, I got mushrooms.
Pizza. You get pizza. You get pizza.
It's
I was like, what do I take this home and bake it? Like, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just don't get it.
It's like Chipotle, man. You can't come in there. They Pittsburghers like through and through. And it's on a busy highway. They only about like a dime big. It ain't like they got a lot of room. You got to come in and know what you're doing, bro. When you got to call the edge, can't just be in line.
They lost tonight. Okay, so they lost tonight to the Battleship reigns supreme. Doesn't say that it's a bad pizza. I think we should, like, when COVID's over, man, we're all gonna have a field trip and we're gonna go to Beto's and we're gonna load it up and we're gonna make sure they're nice to you. So okay,
I didn't say they were mean to me.
That said, the EH25, you haven't had a good experience there. The EH25.com big jagoff poll. It's a big one overnight and over the weekend. Dave, come in here and tell them about it, because oh no, don't run that whole thing. Dave, talk to me, Goose.
Ladies and gentlemen, your overnight poll for the weekend, the log jammer versus striking distance. We've been down this road before, or should I say, we've been down this flume before, or should I say, we had hot sex in the boathouse, or should I say, log jammer versus striking distance, a movie that everyone has seen but no one's ever seen sober. Log jammer versus striking distance. How do you take your log, wet or dry?
He's back. Dave Mansueto is back, ladies and gentlemen. He came back with the thunder. He was kind of simmering for the last couple. He brought it up, and then he brought it down, then he brought it back up again. He's a virtuoso of the intros of the Jagoff poll. Who's the best cop now versus the log jammer? Do you like it wet or do you like it dry? The boathouse. That's you hit the best parts. I'm just proud of you right now. I'm just gonna sit and bask in your glory. All right. So before everyone else at home gets to vote, Pete, is that live now? Can they hit at it? Togetherpgh.com/vote.
Right. It is live. Yes.
So get your vote on right there. You're getting ready for November. Start smashing that. Before we go, Day, you got anything else to say?
Nah, man, fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Wear your mask and vote, man. Whether that's by mail, whether you're walking in there, whatever you're doing, man, vote, be safe. You know what I mean? And these doggy bags, they say it all, man.
Oh, there you go. Are those organic? Are those biodegradable?
They are.
They are. They very much are.
Fantastic. Good to know. Well, anyway, thank you again. It was good to see you this week, twice as ish, once in person. Hopefully, it's not another 100 episodes before we get to see each other again. Let's start to wrap this up. And thank you all very much. Pete, you got anything to add?
Black Lives Matter.
All right. Thank you all. See, we'll be back Wednesday, 8 o'clock. We've got an action-packed week. Starting week 31, episode 99, 100, and 101. What, Pete?
I said 99. Episode 99.
Episode 99 is coming up on Wednesday. So tune in, 8 o'clock. You won't be sorry you did. Thank you all. Stay safe. And don't forget what Sally Wiggins said about putting on a mask.
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
Can't go wrong. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.